Hello, and welcome to Global Data Themes Instant Insights. At Global Data, we define a theme as something that keeps a CEO awake at night, as businesses that invest in important themes will succeed, and those that don't will fail. Hello, and welcome to Instant Insights. Today, I'll be talking to Nicklas Nilsson in the Thematic Intelligence team following his latest report on the cryptocurrency landscape. Hi, Nicklas. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm good. Can't complain.
Good. So, crypto. In your report, you say it's the world's most polarizing tech theme. Why do you think it has that effect?
Crypto is kind of like, it's almost like following a soap opera, right? There's something new happening constantly. And the polarizing thing, I would say, is probably part of the appeal, right? Because there's so many reasons why it's such a polarizing technology. And I would say you could attribute that to four things broadly. First, I would say it's like crypto is as much of a cultural movement as it is an emerging technology, which makes it very, very different from most other technologies.
Right. It's like political, right?
Exactly, right. So I would say like Bitcoin grew in popularity after the financial crisis, right? So it was launched quite soon after. So it kind of has its origins as an anti-establishment movement. And, that has resulted in a lot of people that, many view crypto as a way to express discontent, like from issues ranging from financial bailouts, as it was during the financial crisis, to how governments are handling inflation today. And I think every time you incorporate ideological ideas into something, especially a technology, that tends to be very, very polarizing. And then secondly, I would probably say that crypto and the underlying blockchain technology is very complicated. It's quite difficult to grasp. There's a lot of new concepts constantly being thrown around, like NFTs, DeFi, smart contracts, etc. And you also have the crypto lingo, FOMO, HODL, and that kind of stuff, which doesn't make it easier. And lastly, I would also say that as this report I just wrote, I think many people who have read it have said, oh, it's much bigger than I expected. Like the crypto ecosystem is much larger than expected. And I think that contributes to a lot of messy debates surrounding crypto. And then as well, I would also factor in that crypto remains mostly associated with speculation and investment. And every time money is involved, people tend to get emotional. If someone made $1 million of crypto, of course they would love crypto, right? If someone lost half of their life savings, they will probably be quite cranky about crypto.
Sure.
And then lastly, I would say as like the fourth reason would be the original value proposition of crypto to disrupt traditional finance is in itself polarizing, right? So I have had quite a international life, so I tend to not be particularly happy with the mainstream banks. However, most people don't have any problems with the traditional banking system. And if you don't have an issue with it, then it might be difficult to see the benefit of crypto. And I think if you take all of those four things and put together, that's why crypto is the most polarizing technology.
Yeah, definitely. I think another factor which contributes to this also is the regulatory landscape. As you said, this is like fairly new technology in the scheme of things, and anti-disestablishment, and so obviously it needs quite a lot of new regulations attached to it. What does that look like? Obviously that's been in the news a lot recently. What do you think that looks like now and the near future?
Well, yeah, it's an interesting question. Crypto regulation, it's not an easy one to answer. Like I said, it's like following a soap opera, right? It's not free from intrigue. To make it simple, I would probably divide crypto regulation in two buckets. I think on one hand, you have the regulatory chaos, which is going on in the US. There's no other way of saying it. And on the other hand, you have the rest of the world who mostly are actually making quite good progress when it comes to crypto regulation to provide clarity for the industry. There you have, let's say, the EU. The EU is leading the way with its MiCA bill, which is, what is it? Markets in crypto assets, I think that's the full name. I would say that's not particularly surprising, right? Europe tend to set the stage or set the tone in debates on tech regulation. And I think, what MiCA will do is it will set tougher rules but more consistent rules for crypto companies, right? And it has largely been positive by industry players. So you have a lot of American companies, like Gemini recently said announced that they will set up their new European headquarters in Dublin, for example. So it seems that crypto companies are preferring tougher rules rather than lack of rules.
Definitely. I think you see that parallel in what's going on in AI right now. There's so many calls for regulation in the space because clarity in regulation does help innovation. Because if you're innovating in a largely unregulated space, it's gonna be off-putting and risky.
Exactly. No, I completely agree. And this is definitely the case in the crypto space. And because I would say the US in general might be lagging in tech regulation, but in crypto, they're definitely very far behind. And so like the MiCA bill, I think they will introduce those rules in stages throughout 2024 and 2025. So it's relatively soon. Similarly, there's plenty of other countries like UK, Singapore, Japan, South Korea. All of them have made quite decent progress with their crypto frameworks. So I think if you zoom out and look at crypto as a whole, it's moving forward, right? Of course, you have some countries like China who has banned crypto altogether. However, that's a separate issue, as it has shown that China banning crypto has actually not stopped crypto. There are a few companies that still rank China as like one of the top 10 countries in the world when it comes to crypto adoption. So it's difficult to actually ban crypto as shown in China. But then I think why most people are confused about crypto regulation is the US, right? So if you follow the news about crypto or crypto regulation, I mean, 95% of what you read is from the US. And there's many reasons for that. First, the reason it's so polarizing is that the SEC, so the Securities Commission, they have taken a regulation by enforcement approach. So what that means is rather than discussing what the rules should be and then enforcing them, they're enforcing first and then making up the rules later, if that makes sense. In addition, there's also a turf war going on in the US. So the SEC, are primarily fighting with the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the STFC, about who should be primarily responsible for regulating crypto, right? But like I said before, I think if you zoom out, there is progress in crypto regulation. And I think the most important takeaway from crypto regulation is that when crypto crashed in 2018, right? Yeah, 2017, 18, like the last big crash before this crash, there was basically everyone was saying, let's ban crypto. During this crash, it has actually changed to let's regulate crypto. So, a change in narrative from ban to regulate is quite big leap in just 3 years.
And why do you think that is? Do you think that's because governments and things are getting more involved?
I think governments are getting more involved, and I think as well it's because of the interest, right? It's becoming quite a big industry, a lot of money involved. Large players, ranging from Visa and MasterCard to others. They're realizing that they have clients that want to continue using crypto, more security in place now. There are more anti-money laundering in place. There are more know your customer things in place. With that said, it's still nowhere close to traditional finance, right? So they have a very long way to go, but I still think there's been progress, right?
What do you think the most recent innovations in crypto amongst a lot of this chaos? What are some of the latest innovations happening?
I was sitting and thinking about this question. It's not an easy one because I think there's the fun perspective and then there's the important perspective, right? So I think the fun perspective would be there's a lot of new token types like social tokens, which or fan tokens. So if you say like most football teams or soccer teams in the world, they now have their own cryptocurrency. So PSG, Manchester City, etc., they have their own cryptocurrency, which they kind of sell. So people like fans can buy it, and then in turn they get access to tickets, or they can vote on with the color of the shirts or something like that.
Right.
And then the idea behind that is as well that as the fan base grows, you can sell that fan token to someone else for a profit later on. Then you have the more interesting, I mean, more important, and that's like related to scalability solutions. So it might not be particularly sexy, but crypto has a lot of issues, as I think everyone knows. Security issues, sustainability issues, slow processing times, network fees, etc., etc. To keep it fairly short, I would highlight the Ethereum merge from last year. So most innovations in the crypto space started from the Ethereum network, so like stable coins, DeFi, NFTs. And that popularity led to the Ethereum network being very slow and very expensive to use. And it also used up a lot of energy. So what they did last year is that they changed the blockchain they're using 2.0 to the merge. So when they did that change last year, their blockchain became 99.99% more energy efficient.
Because it was no longer mining, right?
Exactly. So they moved from mining to staking. Staking has its issues in itself, but in terms of the environmental aspect, it's definitely better than mining. And what it also did, it set the stage for future upgrades that will improve how many transactions the network can handle, which in terms will, enhance speed and scalability, which will lower fees, right? And I think a similar solution, I was talking to someone recently about crypto wallets, right? Most in the crypto space, they say, you need to, like, not your keys, not your coins. If you don't have your cryptocurrency in your own crypto wallet, which you completely control, is not actually your money, right? So if you have your money in a bank account, they mean it's not your actual money, because in case the bank goes under, you can lose your money, which happened, let's say, FTX last year. So if you had the money on the FTX exchange, you lost your money. But if you would have had your money in, like, if you traded on FTX and moved your money to a crypto wallet, you wouldn't have lost your money. But there's a big but here, and that is, if you lose your password, if you lose your device, you lose all of your money. So exactly. That's a big downside. So many people are not comfortable having that level of responsibility, and that's been quite a big stop for broader adoption of crypto. But what a lot of wallets are now doing is that they're trying to introduce recoverability solutions. Again, not particularly sexy, but important.
But important, yeah.
Yeah. Argent, which is one wallet, they're trying out a social recovery model, which is basically you let's say you have your own wallet, you have a password for your wallet, but you nominate, let's say, 5 people to know parts of that password. And then that way you can actually recover your password if you lose it. So there are this type of solutions moving forward, which is, I think that's important innovations in the crypto space. It's the innovations that try to address the many, many issues there are in crypto.
Definitely. And, the usability of it is going to be the thing that makes it more mainstream or more widespread. So, yeah, it's super important. That's all we have time for, but thank you so much for those instant insights. Thanks for listening, and from us in Thematic Intelligence, see you next time.